And hi guys, this is Second Perspective. We have another episode of QQ for you. My name is Paul Weston, and over there is Mitchell Allen. And today we'll be doing The Walk. Why don't you give us some information, Mitch?
Why, of course. The Walk is a film by Robert Zemeckis. Robert Zemeckis directed Back to the Future and Who Framed Roger Rabbit and a film called Forrest Gump that some people like and some people don't. So, contentious one. But you know what? He's a classic director, and this is his next project. He also co-wrote this with a guy named Christopher Brown. So, yay, first screenplay, Christopher Brown. The film basically just takes place in 1974. It pushes back a little bit in the past, mostly in the present 1974 space. Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays Philippe Petit. He's a French performance artist who has a dream when he's younger to walk between the Twin Towers on a rope of cable. And he decides to put that plan into action, and he recruits a team from the U.S. and France, and it's dangerous and illegal, and does he do it?
Dun dun dun. We should let you know that this is based off, or it is a true story.
Mm-hmm.
There has been documentaries on it. Before I sort of get into my strengths and weaknesses, I was just curious what grade you gave it, Mitch.
Yeah. I guess I have like two separate grades for this. As I told you before, it's like there's 20 minutes towards the end that's like a B plus because it's very involving and really good, and then the rest of it is like C minus at best, probably.
Yeah, I can see why you would give it a grade like that. I know what part you say that is a little bit stronger. I didn't have quite the same feeling as you did. I do think that part is definitely the strongest part of the film. Overall, I'm probably going to give this a C. It's not my favorite film that I've seen. In fact, it's probably I didn't particularly care for it. A strength of the film is the actual story itself. As I said, it was based on a true story, and to realize that there was actually a guy who had this dream and went through some pretty insane stuff to actually attempt his dream. It's really interesting. There are some good moments in the last 30 minutes or so that are actually sort of emotionally arresting and captivating, but there's just a lot of issues that I had with the film. The biggest one being its tone. It just is so cheesy. It's unbelievably cheesy. Like, the very first shot is a close-up of Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who plays this character, wearing, like, has blue eye contacts, and he's, like, has this weird haircut. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. But then he's got his, like, French accent, whatever, and you realize very shortly he's standing on a very clearly CGI like Statue of Liberty with the Twin Towers in the back. It's super corny, and then it cuts to the past, and it cuts to a black and white scene with that character riding a unicycle with some pretty cheesy music in the back. And it's just like, that is sort of a really good thing that kind of encaptures most of sort of the tonal issues of this film. And it's just super corny and cheesy. It's just ridiculous. Even the 3D kind of falls into that trap in my eyes, where like you see a character juggle, and the 3D goes like right in your face, and it's like, whoa! It's ridiculous. It's just, I honestly, when I was watching this film, for the most part, I felt like I heard like the clown music in the background. It was just ridiculous. I don't know. What were your sort of more clear thoughts on that?
I mean, we have a lot of crossover here too. Strengths. The only thing I think I disagree with you is the 3D. I think Zemeckis is like one of the few directors that knows how to use 3D, and it's not, I think it's subtle enough that it's not like everything has to be overdone, everything's in your face, but he sort of knows. Like with the juggling thing, I actually thought it was okay because he is being playful visually there, and so it works for that. The thing that doesn't work about that scene is the black and white. You could get into that so far. But like in general, when he uses it, it seems to be purposeful, and I think especially when you get to the later scenes, it really does pay off and give you some more immersive stuff. I also think it's when it's patient, when the movie's like patient in general, and that has to do with the main walking scene. And also, there's a couple scenes towards the end where they sort of do slow down the story and the pacing and focus on the characters. It does like involve you and make you feel like you really care about these people, whereas the rest is just so fast. And then some of the heist stuff is like okay, but in general, it's just the pacing is so fast, especially in the first hour and a half. You're just like, it's almost like they want to tell you something, and then you want to know more, and they're like, "No, but you're not interested. Let's go to the next thing." And you're like, "No, no, no, no. But how about tell me more about that? I want to know what that is." And they just blast by everything. Like they go from one black and white intro to one CGI scene to one like melodramatic conversation, one over the other, and it's just you're like lost by the midpoint, and you're just like, what the hell is going on? And that goes to the sense of time in the story. It's like all over the place, and the writing is like maybe a baby, basically. Just the dialogue is like so corny. It's like all of the worst parts of Forrest Gump, I think, because the casting is like over the top, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who I usually like, is just poor casting and a lot of bad accents. And
I don't know if I necessarily agree that his performance was particularly bad.
Yeah.
I think the accent was okay. Like you can kind of get used to it.
Off.
But yeah, as you can see, like there are a lot of sort of issues, and ultimately it's like the only reason why I would recommend seeing this film is if you have never heard the story and you hate documentaries, like you just despise them, you'll never watch them.
Which
otherwise,
people do.
Which is fair, right? Like that's why I'm saying, like, and like this is if this is the only way you'll hear about the story is worth knowing. Otherwise, I haven't seen the documentary myself, but I've been told by Mitch himself and by all sorts of people that the documentary is fantastic, and that you don't need to see this film. No, you really don't.
I would say for sure for our audience, watch Man on Wire, and then here's what you do: is you mask the heist. And what you do is you go into a movie theater and you steal a pair of 3D glasses and you go in for the last half hour of this movie so you can see that part, because that's the only thing missing from the documentary, just the walk part, and then you leave. And you don't, it's an in and out sort of heist deal. That would be fun.
All right. Well, in that case, we do have plenty to talk about in this film in terms of a discussion. So join us there when you can. My name is Paul Weston. Over there is Mitch Allen, and we'll see you in the discussion. See you guys.